Alright guys, so now we just have to do the login page and the details page. So we're going to start with the login. Now the login is going to be quite different because we're just going to basically have a little box in the middle with the login form. We're not going to have we are going to have a nav bar, but we're not going to have all these links. It's basically just going to be the blue nav bar with the logo. So what I'll do is copy the post page and then go to our login and paste it in. And we can actually get rid of, let's get rid of this, the select, the modal, the side nav, because we're not going to need that. And then we'll leave the preloader stuff. We can get rid of the CK editor script. We can get rid of the modal. We can get rid of the fixed action button. We'll leave the footer. And let's get rid of all the sections, so up to the nav. Alright, now the nav is going to be very simple. Actually, we can just recreate the nav because it's going to be so simple. So just get rid of the whole nav and let's remake it. So we'll just say nav with the class of blue and darken to container and nav wrapper, and our A tag with the class of brand dash logo. Actually, we'll have it go to index.html. Okay, and then in here we'll put Madman, and that's it. That's our nav bar. Let's save it. Now if we go and we click log out, it should take us to the login page. Good. So from here, under the nav, we're going to put the login. All right, now I'm going to wrap it in a container. And let's do a row. Actually, you know what? Let's wrap this in a section. I wasn't initially going to, but I think it's a good idea to do it. So we'll say section, section, and then section login. And then we'll just take this and we'll go ahead and move that up. Okay, so inside the row, we're going to have a couple classes. So we're going to do call S12, so it's stacked on mobile devices, M8 on, so 8 columns on medium, but also an offset on medium screens. We want to offset it 2. Now on large screens we want it to take up 6 columns and we want to offset it 3, so offset dash L3. Okay, and that's going to change the width of the box depending on the size of the browser. So if we were to save that, we're not going to see anything yet, but inside here let's put a card panel. I'm also going to give it a class of login, and I'm going to give it a class of blue, darken to, white text, and center. Okay, so there it is. So depending on the width, you can see how it gets bigger and smaller and bigger. And you can mess around with it if you want. That's just what I feel looks the best. So inside here we're going to put an H1 and we're going to say Madman login. Actually, let's do an H2. That's kind of big. Alright, so underneath that we'll have our form. And we're actually going to have the action go to index.html so that when you submit it, it goes to the index page. Alright, then we're going to have our input field. So this is going to be the email, but I'm going to prefix it with an icon. So let's do material icons email. And we need to give this a class of prefix since it's prefixing an input. Okay, we'll say input. Let's do type email. And let's give it an ID of email. Okay, then we'll do our label for email, and then the text, and save. And there we go. Now the label, I want to give that a class of white text so it's not so dark. There we go. All right. Now we also want the password field, so I'm going to copy this whole input field div and paste that in, and we'll change this to the icon to lock. Change all this stuff to password. Okay. And then underneath this input field, we're going to have our submit. So we'll say input, we'll give it a type of submit, and value, we'll say login. Let's do a couple classes. So we want btn, btn large. Let's do btn extended, which is something that it's a custom class I'm going to create. And let's do gray. Okay. Oh, we also want to lighten it. So we'll do lighten 4, and let's make sure it's black text. Okay, so we'll save that. And I mean, that looks okay, but I want the button to actually stretch all the way across. So what we'll do is go to our CSS, our main.css file, and let's say btn-extended, display it as a block. Let's give it a width of 80%, margin auto, and let's move it from the top a little bit, so margin top 20 pixels. Alright, and I also want to move the whole login box down a little. So remember we gave it a class of login. Let's say margin top 70 pixels and save. And let's do some to the bottom too. So margin bottom 70 pixels. And there we go. So there's our login page. So if I put something in here and log in, takes us to the dashboard. Awesome. So the last thing we have to do is the details page. So let's close up those. Let's copy the post page again, and then go to details and paste that in. And basically the details page is like the post edit page. It's where we're going to see the values for the posts and all that. So we're going to keep, for instance, the CK editor, the select. It's going to have all the fields the modal has, but in the page. So let's actually go to the top, and let's get rid of the active class on the post. We don't want an active class anywhere because this isn't actually in the nav. Okay, and then we're going to go down here to the section. We'll say section details, and then get rid of the table. Okay, and the card action I want to keep, but I want to get rid of the pagination, so delete the UL. Alright, and we can get rid of the fixed action button. And what I actually want to do is in the card content where we have the title, I want to put a row here. I want this to be a grid, and we're going to say dot call. We'll stack these on small screens, but I want it to be 6 columns on medium and up. So we want 2 of these, and then we'll put the title in one. And then this one is actually going to have the who created it. It's going to have their image, so I'm going to copy that from the comments page right here, but not the TD, just the image. And we'll put that right here, and then let's go under it and put a paragraph, and we'll say posted by John Doe. and then another paragraph, and we'll say on January 12th, 2018. And then I'm going to give this column a class of center as well. So let's save that, and then let's click on one of these details links, and there we go. Okay, so underneath the row that we just created, which ends right here, is going to be basically the form that we have in the modal. So I'm going to go down to the post modal and copy the whole form. Okay, I'll copy the form, and then I'm going to get rid of the modal altogether. Okay, now the form will go right here under the row that we just created. And we're going to change, or not change, but we're going to add a value to the input here for the title of post 1, just to make it look more realistic. And then let's see, we'll go to the text area, and in here let's just say this is the content for post 1, and we'll save it. Alright, so that looks good. Now what we'll do is create a save and delete button, okay, if they want to save it or delete it. Actually, for the select option, let's put selected on one of these categories, like that. And you see how that body is like right up against there? That's the label. I'm going to get rid of the body label because that doesn't look right. It's pretty obvious it's the body there. And then let's see, in the card action, this is where we're going to put the buttons. So let's say button class btn, and let's give it a class of green, and we'll say save, and then I'll copy that down, and then this one will be delete, and we'll change it to red. And there we go. So there's our details page. Alright, pretty simple. And I think that that's it. Alright, so I think it's a pretty nice UI. We even have some functionality, but obviously if you wanted to move on and learn a back-end language, or perhaps Node.js, which is a runtime, which is also a server-side technology, you could actually build this into a working application. Obviously this is not that course, this is a Materialize UI course. But knowing how to build the front end is obviously a valuable skill. Alright, so that's it guys for this project, and I will see you in the next one.